I would like to share with you a story from someone who's in your local region.
I live in Point Breeze. Something that would make me jealous is maybe just looking around and seeing other pretty people and just knowing that I'm not one of them. I mean, when I see everyone else around me, I just think, wow, like everyone's so pretty, like why can't I be?
So this touching, sweet story we gathered this weekend talking to a bunch of people about stories about jealousy. And this is the kind of story that we could share with you in StorySpace. Our hope is to build an online community where storytellers and story seekers can connect over true human stories. There's been an abundance of interest in storytelling over the past few years with shows like This American Life and The Moth. And we're hoping to build this community where people can come together and share those stories. So let's take a look at what StorySpace would be. When you first would arrive at StorySpace, you don't need a login to go and browse the stories and what they look like. You'd be able to see by our algorithm ranking of the most popular stories based on what people have favorited, what people have commented on. You can see stories in your local area, your region, or across the whole country, what's trending. Or you could search by what's, if you're interested in a certain category or topic. Then we're going to drill into a specific story. You can see our stories can be, you can share pictures, text content, upload an audio or a video story, and then you can start to interact with this site by liking, commenting on, or sharing these stories with other social media outlets. In order to comment on this story or to favorite it, you're going to have to become a member of our community so we know who's involved. We're going to log in with Facebook. So Ben here has liked this story, and immediately because he logged in, we're going to say, hey, it's your first time here. Why don't you tell us a story? So he's going to get started by sharing his story. He can make a public story or just with his friends. We're going to give him some tips already in how to write a good headline. We have people involved who know a lot about telling stories, journalists, writers, and are going to help you to tell your story that's already great in the best and most intriguing way possible. He's going to tell an audio story. You can record it right inside the app, and he's going to publish it to the community because it's public already. Right now, he can get people to be liking, commenting, and share that story. He's now going to move on to his dashboard where he'll be able to see how many stories he's written, who's liking and commenting on those stories, and trends in his readership. So that's the high-level view of our app. Let's talk a little bit about the business. Building a community is not easy. It's a big challenge, but it's been done before. Companies like Stack Overflow, Quora, and Etsy work hard to make sure that their members don't feel like they're going on to perform a transaction or to ask or answer a question. Like they're a part of something bigger, something more important. They work to self-police, to make sure that people are following the guidelines that they themselves set out. And that's what we want to build. And I think that's a big reason of how we differentiate ourselves from just a blog or a video on YouTube. And furthermore, that we are specifically around storytelling, around telling real human stories, that you can now grow and become a better storyteller with this community of storytellers. What's more is we will, I think we went the wrong way. Yeah, so we talked to a bunch of potential users about how they could use this app. We know journalists with the Post-Gazette and City Paper who told us that news organizations pay thousands of dollars to get access for wire services and could use this to supplement that income, or to supplement the stories and find human interest stories and ask people for stories around a specific topic. We talked to a storyteller in stand-up who's interested and would pay money for this as inspiration and source material, not to take those stories, but to be able to write jokes and tell stories about those. So what is our app really about? It's about content. We're amassing lots and lots of stories with demographic info, where those people are at. Our plan is to have a rollout over time. So we're going to have a private beta release just to 100 people that we know that are interested in telling stories, and we'll do it well. Once we get up to 1,000 users, so those people have invites to give to people, get up to 1,000 users, we launch. At the end of a year, we'll have over 100,000 users. Content makes money. So we won't have ads on the site. It's really important to us that this is a community of people that feel comfortable sharing. But what we'll be able to do is to charge people to ask prompts, basically to ask people to ask specific stories, to give them access to our community. So if you want to ask to just your local region, if you want to ask to a larger region, or if you want to ask to the country, you'll pay more for a larger reach.
Time.
Thank you.
How will you address copyright issues?
That is a great question. So we do want all of the stories that are submitted to the site to be owned by the authors. Part of what you get if you pay for a prompt is the ability to contact those individual authors or storytellers through the site to be able to follow up with them. So say on the Post-Gazette, I'm doing a story about a local football game, and I want to hear stories about high school football experiences. I might ask a prompt, say, tell me about your early high school experience, and you'll be able to contact, you get the top 10 stories. A few of those are really great. You'll be able to write to that person and say, can I print your story in the paper? And also you want to do your due diligence and validate, the legitimacy of that story. But that's all on the reporter, but it's up to the reporter and the storyteller to see if they want to be involved in that further.
Okay, I have a question. So is this based on a regional model?
Is this based on a regional model of storytelling so that you would have like a Pittsburgh region community, or what's your vision for this?
Yeah, we're definitely very interested in the local area and the region. So right from that main feed, you can see stories in your local zip code, a larger region, maybe Allegheny County, as well as the country. So I think there will be people who are interested in what's trending nationally. And I think that's also of interest to people who might be paying for content. I mean, another good example for paying would be if you're doing a company who's doing market research, and you might want to know, tell me about a time that you, we had an example from the group, someone in a startup saying, tell me about a time you had a failed startup experience. So in all those cases, it might be up to you what region you're interested in, and we'll give you access to the correct region.
So there's a service that I use that's free, which is the inverse, and it's called Harrow. Have you heard of it?
I have not. I think.
Yeah, I'm a reporter, and it's I'm with this.
Right.
Group.
Oh, okay.
Here, you can.
Yeah, it's called Help a Reporter Out, and one of the Post-Gazette reporters I was talking to feels like that's very skewed by public relations professionals, and they want to receive more of these local people stories.
Right, but it's also giving a chance for companies and people to get their stories out.
Companies have a lot of resources to get their stories out, and we feel like this is something that just gives the average person that opportunity.
Okay, good. Thanks.
StorySpace.